first petition occurred back in May. You know, the allegations were that he had struck Wendy in the face with a closed fist. He had run away. He attempted to strangle her with a hoodie. They had called 911. And then once police arrived, you know, he was continued to be very disrespectful to them. On July 28th, police were called out there. He smashed a window and was throwing the glass at his parents.
Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today we're heading to Otsego County, Michigan, where 13-year-old Gabriel Robinson is facing some very serious allegations involving his family. The question now is whether his behavior can be safely managed at home or whether placement outside the home has become necessary. Watch the hearing and let me know your thoughts in the comments.
Okay. All right, Gabriel, are you there? Can you hear me? It looks like you're trying to become. Okay. Gabriel, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
All right, good. And is that your dad there with you?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, all right, very good, thank you. All right, is this the one, Christina, where we have new, or do we have new petition?
Nope, that is in the Hall case.
Okay, so in this case, we've gone through the new petitions already.
Your Honor, we did receive 2 new petitions yesterday for him.
Oh, so they're all right, Mr. Delaney.
Oh, yes,
you
I'm
may not
sorry.
be-
You're correct.
Okay, are you aware of those, Mr. Delaney, those new petitions yesterday, from yesterday?
Probably not, Judge. My office went without internet for 4 days, but the tech was here this morning, so I'm back. So I've got to kind of work back through my computer system. iPhones have limitations when you're searching emails.
Right.
So I'm not aware of those, no.
Okay, what I'm going to do is arraign Gabriel on those 2 as well. And obviously, we're going to have an adjournment to see where we're going. But Gabriel and your dad, I know here, an arraignment is just when I make sure that you know what the charges are that are out there. There's the older petition, which alleged domestic violence and incorrigibility that we already went through. That was filed in June. These 2 were filed August 2nd. I guess which is Sunday, but I'm assuming yesterday, August 3rd. At any rate, the first of those, Mr. Kramer, I'm sorry, they were filed July 29th and July 30th. The first of those, Mr. Kramer, I guess I answered my own question already, alleges domestic violence alleged to have taken place on July 28th, an assault on Clinton Robinson, a resident or former resident of your household, as well as an assault on Wendy Treese, a resident or former resident of your household. The previous domestic violence had been an alleged assault on Star Stilson, a resident or former resident of the household. And the newest petition alleges that on July 28th, count 1, assault on Wendy Treese with a dangerous weapon, specifically glass, but without, basically felonious assault. And then count 2, another charge of domestic violence against Clinton Robinson, and count 3, malicious destruction of property belonging to Mr. Robinson. Those are the new charges. Gabriel, do you understand the new charges? I'm not asking you if they happened or not. I just want to make sure you understand them.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm going to go through your rights again. I know I did before. These rights apply to all 3 cases. You have the right to an attorney. That will be Mr. Delaney on all 3 cases. You have the right to a jury trial in all 3 cases. At those trials, if they're requested, the prosecutor would have to show beyond a reasonable doubt that they are true. If the prosecutor could not do that, then they would be dismissed. At that trial, you'd have the right to remain silent, that is, to not say anything. On the other hand, if you wanted to testify, you could. You'd have the right to have the court order your witnesses to be present, and you would have the right to have Mr. Delaney ask questions of witnesses against you. Do you understand your rights?
Yes, sir.
All right, we're here in a very new stage of this case. Mr. Delaney, I'm assuming you'd be requesting an adjournment at this point.
I would be, and perhaps this would be subject to a consolidated plea agreement once the prosecutors had a chance to look at it, or other avenues.
All right, Mr. Kramer, have you had the chance to get the information you need from Gabriel and his family?
Yes, Your Honor, I have done the intake process with them. He did score a 3 on the diversion assessment. He scored a warning on the Maisie as well. Just for the record, I think we've received 4 on-calls since that first petition was filed. Gabriel's been causing a lot of havoc for the family and for himself, and honestly with all law enforcement in this town. I've been seeking out asking for possible placement. Unfortunately, there's nothing available today. But if you could, before the end of this hearing, could you please have maybe a conversation with him with what's going on, because he's causing a lot of issues.
Judge, and if you
All
want me
right.
to give you a timeline of anything, I can. There
I
have been
will.
just a
Let me
lot
just
of.
ask let me ask Mr. Kramer one more question, that I do want to hear that. So Mr. Kramer, I think this was said before, he is not eligible for consent calendar, or is he?
So a 3 would be a consent calendar score because he is moderate, but that's before the new petitions came in.
Right, okay. I don't think the court would be inclined to do consent calendar. I suspect the prosecutor wouldn't agree anyway. But Ms. Brooker, if you could give me a timeline, that would be helpful.
And again, I know there's not a placement available for him, but the first petition occurred back in May. You know, the allegations were that he had struck Wendy in the face with a closed fist. He had run away. He attempted to strangle her with a hoodie. They had called 911. And then once police arrived, you know, he was continued to be very disrespectful to them. On July 28th, police were called out there. He smashed a window and was throwing the glass at his parents, assaulted his father. On July 29th, the police were called. He was accused of stealing some money, ran away from home, threw rocks at his father, yelling at bystanders, threatening his parents, threatening law enforcement, threatening to harm himself. They did take him to OMH for an evaluation on that date. On July 30th, they were called out there for him being out of control, throwing things out of the house, threatening to stab Wendy with a piece of plastic, admitted to threatening her, continuously threatening Wendy and his father during that interaction. And I believe that was one of the interactions when they attempted to contact the on-call department. And then I know on Friday, Deputy Dean had some contact with them, with his parents, just about them seeking possible placement for their safety and for his safety, just with everything that's going on. So there's a lot happening. You know, we don't know Gabriel well yet. We've not had him on probation yet. But that's just something we're keeping an eye on, because a lot of law enforcement resources are being used. There are obviously safety issues in the home. Parents are very concerned about his behavior. So I just wanted to make the court aware of all that.
All right, thank you.
Your Honor,
Gabriel,
can I
I
add
have a
one thing?
question.
Can I add one more
Sure,
thing
go
too
ahead.
about the placement thing? We are currently seeking placement. As soon as something opens up, I'd definitely be inclined to let the court know.
All right, and as you know, I'll be gone next week, but obviously Judge Hessling could act in my absence and fill him in on it. Gabriel, I have a couple things to say to you, but first I need to ask your dad a couple questions. Mr. Robinson, who is living in your home right now?
Me, Gabe, and Wendy.
Okay, all right. Gabriel, how old are you?
13.
All right, do you know that hitting people is wrong?
Yes, sir.
Part of my job, Gabriel, is to see what's going to happen to you as a result of these cases. But another part of it is I have to protect people, and that includes people who live in your house. Nobody should have to live in a house where they feel threatened by another person's behavior. If you were being threatened by somebody's behavior, I would do what I could to make sure you were safe. I will do that as well if you act in a manner that I feel is making other people unsafe, like hitting them, threatening them with objects, throwing things at them, I will have to have you removed. You know what that means when I say that?
Yeah,
What does it mean?
and moved from my home.
Yeah, put someplace else. You don't want that. I don't want to do it. So the way you keep that from happening is to follow the rules in your house. No violence, no threats of violence, no hitting anybody or threatening to hit them. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
I mean, that is a court order right now. You're not to engage in any threats or any violence towards anybody. And if we find out about it, and I'm not saying what I will do if placement becomes available right now, because this is in a fairly compressed time period, 4 or 5 incidences. And that's very concerning to me. So I expect you to be on your best behavior. Okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, Ms. Brooker, would you be asking anything else?
Nothing else other than what the court has already gone through.
Mr. Delaney, I know, as you said in the last case, you're going to be gone for a family event from, I think you said the 18th to the 24th. I would like to, given my schedule, I don't want to push this out till September. Do you think we could come back on the 25th? I don't even know if there would be a resolution, but I would like to have this scheduled just in case something happens between then. Hopefully you and Ms. Brooker could have some conversations before you leave. But do you think that would be possible to come back on the 25th?
I was, there it is. Oh.
I can see your name and I can hear you.
Yeah, I was grabbing the calendar and it wouldn't come back on. Yes, the 25th will work, you know, and I certainly built that time frame to try to stay within the Tuesdays so the court doesn't lose half a month. But I'd be back on the 25th, and knowing what I've heard about this case, I'd be able to be available on the 25th for the court to take another look at this.
All right. And if necessary, you know, we can look at it, and if you're gone, we can still look at it if something emergent happens. All right, Christina, I don't anticipate it'll be very long. It'll be a continued inquiry hearing on all 3 petitions. And we'll see where the case stands at that time. Gabriel, while we will not be back here for 3 weeks, if there are problems, we can have an emergency hearing. There is always somebody available. The way to keep that from happening is for you to be on your best behavior. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. Robinson, I know you're in a difficult position, but do you have any questions?
No, sir.
Okay. All right. There being nothing further, this matter is adjourned then.
Thank you.